All right, welcome back, everybody. It has been a sad departure from the normal, regular events, but I'm glad we're back together. Just to kind of hit a little of what the last session was about. We had just finished our little arc in the Badlands, where we had rescued several of the halflings. We got them to uh, kind of join Kanos's cause formally after having shut down one of the major portals that was being opened from the Shadowfell into the middle of the Badlands. And we rescued several of their tortured civilians that were being held captive by the Radiant Eclipse. And we had shut down the portal. We'd gone back. We met with Laura and some of the elders, and then we traversed to Kanos itself over a few days' journey, where we met Ileana and Nalar, who welcomed everybody. They were giving a speech to several soldiers out in the middle of the square of the main city of Kanos, and they were kind of talking about some major political changes that were happening, and that there was some potential for a threat, and they were going to put in a bunch of safeguards, and they were mobilizing some troops to try to make sure that the things that were happening, that they were prepared regardless of kind of what direction they went. And so when you talked with Ilion and Nalar about it, you'd found that Einar had um, kind of began a campaign against some of what they had seen as some inferior world politics, as they generally think of everyone as inferior, but over the last century there has been a significant number of world-ending cataclysmic events that seem to have been brought on by various misdeeds and bad people and bad actors and bad governments and all kinds of different things. And they now deem it where they can no longer idly sit by and let the rulers of the world um, spin the entire world into this chaos and destruction by their poor judgments and bad actions. So they have taken upon themselves to fix the world and as a solution, and have immediately to their surrounding countries and neighbors have brought several of them into their own fold, particularly Vineholm, who used to be a lot more neutral, that surrounds Einar, have seemed to adopted the mainstay of their culture and their line of thinking, and the very wealthy country of Davin, which is also nearby, seems to be supplying um, some monetary and material gains to their endeavors. And so they've kind of brought them all into the fold as one conglomerate. And then even the near countries thereafter have either swiftly fallen to some very pointed attacks, or have kind of come into play. And so they've moved, they basically at this point, in just a very short time, have struck out from Calendesh all the way to Irdra, and now control all of that territory, either in part or in whole. And that's what we know about as of now. We don't know what other places they've been to or shipped to or done, but they have now kind of some control of more than half of that entire continent. As well, there's still ongoing several of the Radiant Eclipse plots, and we had some markers all over the place. We'd heard that several of the other teams that were in the Badlands had dealt with a couple of the other things that were there, but some of the others were still troubling, and so we had kind of a choice. How do we help? We could go diplomatically and try to recruit people. We could, to the cause. We could go after more directly the Radiant Eclipse. We could somehow directly fight or treat us with Einar, and the party chose to go to Erden to investigate more of the Radiant Eclipse activity there, since it's already a place touched by the Shadowfell. There was already some significant danger of the veil being torn, or easy way for them to get more portals open, or like there's lots of other concerns that we had about what could possibly be going on there. And it had the by far largest circle placed on the map that we had found of incursion activity. And so Ileana said that she would help with this endeavor, and she went to work out some of what that would be, while the party went to the tavern. They get one night's reprieve from the duties of fate that they have been thrust upon, and so they had a night where Fancy had a very fruitful performance, where he got lots of good tips and donations for his performance, and then everyone was able to talk and have some fun and let loose, and then returned back to the main castle garrison for the evening to sleep. And that would be where we're going to pick up, is right there as people are waking up, maybe slightly later in the morning than would normally be customary, and we are greeted by smells of food from the main treatise chamber.
Oh, guys, come on. Guys, do you smell that? Wake up, wake up, wake up. Let's go, let's go. It's going to be a great day.
How are you so chipper? How are you already awake?
Do you smell this down the hall? This is going to be fantastic. It's going to be a great day. Come on, my fine, eared friend.
All of your friends have ears.
Yeah, but yours are.
I slap him with my ears as I turn around to ignore him.
I gather things, and I assume we had maybe a couple different rooms.
Yeah, there's space aplenty, all in a similar section, so.
I just kind of give the other rooms a slight, not too loud, not to totally abruptly wake them up, but just a little knock. It's like, yeah, we're going to get breakfast.
Just to preface some of this, how much did each of you partake in the festivities of the evening? I guess is your imbibement level, I guess, would be a question.
I would say Dagan was pretty happy to be back in Kanos, and he probably got a little drunk.
I would say that Fancy is not drunk at all and overly over the top, ready to go, excited.
Val also did not imbibe. He's also not excited about anything. He'd be, everybody wakes up, he'll be already outside, posted up inside the tavern, but at the door.
And Emmy may have sipped some on a drink, but she did not even finish her drink. She was too sidetracked on something else. As she's always distracted when eating or drinking.
Amaros would have partaken, but not in excess.
Is Weldon a drinker? Do we have a drunk bunny?
Not as much. No drunk bunny.
You are so responsible.
No, he's a pyromaniac.
Takes in some whiskey with a lighter.
Inebriation and a fascination with fire probably don't go well. He knows himself.
Doing a little fire breathing for funsies.
No, where's the Ingo? What's the new danger today? Weldon, he's drunk. Lighting shit on fire.
All right, so you all kind of start coming together. The main meeting room in the castle proper, where you'd met Ileana before, where there was that massive feast. Very similar. This is not your Days Inn continental breakfast, the eggs in a warmer and a whatnot, but large roasted boar and all kinds of pastries and other proteins all throughout fruit, etc.
Well, well, this does look delicious.
As y'all kind of come in, she's gonna prop her head up, like on her elbow, and then put her head on her fist. Well, well, did you have fun in the evening?
We did. It's been quite a while since I've been to the Star and Saber.
It's been nice to sleep in my own room.
A fun place to be, I'm sure. But I think today has something else in store for things to go forward. Nilar's a little sleeping it off this morning. He has to recover. He has duties tonight to attend. She kind of winks. You all are quite in luck. You have a trip to take, and luck would have it that my favorite captain is here. Used to work with him, you know. Captain Corval. He and the magician are docked just this morning, and I've already had the chance to speak with him about giving you passage to Erden. If you need to get somewhere, either fast or unknown, there is no greater person in the land to do so. He should be here sometime just after breakfast, and then we'll have proper introductions. Nalar did give me this scroll, and she kind of reaches into like her belt and pulls out a rolled up piece of paper. He said he's made it so that pretty much anyone that has any kind of arcane knowledge can use it. But it will give you a trip back to here at your disposal. So
I'm sure the party would agree that I should hold on to that as I step
No.
forward.
No,
And,
no, no.
As he says,
I said they'll agree.
If you are a party of one, you can agree. If the party wants you to have it.
Okay, in that case, we should let Amaros hold it. What do you think, big fella? Come on, you know you want to. Come on.
I'm sure I can carry the scroll if that's.
I knew you could do it, big guy. You got us. Gives you a big pat.
He choosing.
As we sit down and eat, Dagan kind of brings up like trying to do it in character. We should have a cover story, something that's mostly true, but just a reason why we're in Erden.
Ooh, I like cover stories. What do you have in mind?
Well, we could be part of your. And he hesitates to say this. We could be part of your musical troupe, possibly.
I was thinking we could be pirates. What do you think about pirates, Weldon?
Well, I'm not musical.
But you'd look fantastic and a pirate hat.
Yeah, but pirates are typically at sea. We're going inland.
Okay, you're right. You're right. You're right.
I don't understand the fantasy of rapids dressed as pirates.
I hear it's a whole subgenre. But we could put Fancy on point, traveling musician with his crew.
With my trusty cobbler on Maros. What do you think about that, big guy? Huh? Cobbler? Look at these boots.
I can't role play a musician.
You don't have to be a musician. You're simply in my you're like a
Entourage
bodyguard,
is the
really.
word you're looking for. The bunny's the bodyguard. You're gonna make me the cobbler, and the
am I
bunny
supposed
is
to be the
bodyguard.
place to center in your audience? Is that what you want me to be? I just start the booze early.
And what am I, the parrot?
No, you
Or the mascot.
you mascot. No, let me see here.
I cannot play a pirate.
No, we're going to be musicians.
I think the pirate thing got nixed.
Well, then it's settled. And Fancy pats his hips like everybody else.
Walden is not settled.
You want me to play an instrument now?
I've been trying to learn the lute a little bit. Fancy's shown me a couple things. I can play, sometimes I can play an E chord.
You're muted. I didn't come through.
Start playing some finger drums on the table. I don't think I'm suited for this.
I can play this little pan flute.
Excellent.
Let me try my E chord. Oh man, it's a
Oh, that was good.
It's in
That
tune
was
and everything.
good.
So he's a good teacher.
I mean, I do have these bagpipes.
He's like, what have I got myself into?
I could also see if there's any seeker connections. I mean, we just can't necessarily go up there and say, "Hey, we're looking for maybe an incursion event or something," because we just don't know what we're going into. We don't know. I mean, if people have heard may be very much against that type of thing, or they may embrace it wholly. We have no idea.
What if they don't like music?
Adequate subterfuge. This will be fine as long as everyone has the utmost faith and Fancy to be overly verbose, extravagant, and attention stirring. I think everyone is trying to understand and put themselves in a position of being worthwhile to a group. Well, it's been my experience that the more extravagant the show is, the more people are involved in, and the less each individual actually has anything to do with anything. So we should be fine.
Fancy can't even reply to that. He's so touched.
I was gonna kind of stand up and say, the one piece of advice I might give you, if you're not commonly familiar with works of subtlety, and she kind of winces a little as she says that, a cover story is a great idea, but make sure you understand your audience, so to speak.
What do we know about them? These people of Erden.
Well, what do you know about them?
Yeah, what do you know, Bard? Are you really traveled? What do you know?
I know that the player knows nothing. Maybe
Roll
Fancy
a
knows something.
history check.
Yeah.
Excellent. Let's find out what Fancy knows.
By the way, Drad's rolling physical dice. So
Oh, that was a great roll, Fancy.
That's as good as my E chord.
Quite a bit. I mean, Erden is not a place that many go to, but it is still yet, at the very least, infamous, because it is a place where the Shadowfell naturally bleeds into the world. So not through some kind of torn opening or whatever, where many of those that have sought refuge away from the Shadowfell have founded a society and country and place in that place between. One of the things they are overly cautious about the balance between the light and dark. One of their kind of tenets is where they had come from. The Shadowfell is very oppressive, to say the least, and across most of the rest of the land is generally some self-sovereignty or freedom has been a kind of a piece, and so they kind of live in the between, where they are run by different societies. They have an aristocracy, which is the Vrailoka, which are essentially vampires, and they have some elements of humans that live there. There are some Shatterkai that live there. There is a kind of particular race of human called the Vistani, which are very much like gypsies, very much like any of the other lore around vampires and the like, with that Romanian themed gypsy kind of aspect to it. There are also a group of specific scholars there that study the shadow, that are comprised of multiple different races of people, but generally within that same realm of the Shatterkai, humans, the Vrailoka, that sort of thing. Because there is like a direct connection from the Shadowfell to Erden, it is dusk there all the time, in the daytime. Like, it's dusk rather than actual daylight. The night is dark, but the days are
Less
hazy
dark.
at best, and there's a lot of mist there, and some of the creatures of the Shadowfell itself have come through the veil to the actual to Ralidar, to live there as well, whether good or bad that comes from that. They generally have a more somber disposition overall. The aristocracy is a little bit pompous, even though they're highly intelligent and very long-lived. The Vistani are kind of like the weird contrast that exists. So those gypsies are ever the performers. They themselves treat conversations like it is some theatrical endeavor. And they are prone to mysticism, by and large.
So is that, I guess, Fancy maybe tells us what he knows. How much do I know about the scholars? I can't pronounce that word right now for sure. I know we talked about that word, but
The incunabula is the I think that they, like, the general knowledge being that they're obsessed with the secrets of the Shadowfell, and then they do a lot of research on that specifically. I think that much is common knowledge, but what they're researching in is is it historical in nature, or is it trying to find hidden magics or dark magic or things that are forbidden? That people don't know generally, like kind of what the specifics are.
I say to the group, I would really like to get some guidance from the seekers on this, but I may have a slight in with the incunabula, just by the nature of who I work for. The seekers aren't necessarily going after forbidden magic or forbidden knowledge, but I mean, knowledge in itself is not necessarily good or evil. So someone on the side, like me and Val, looking to learn more, to expand our knowledge. There might be some people we can have some conversations with. Maybe they would know some interesting things that may or may not be happening around Erden without tipping our hand too much. Yeah, our cover story doesn't have to be super elaborate. Just have a reason to be there.
All right, hear me out. Hear me out. Seems like these people are going to be more miserable. New plan, not a musical troupe trying to entertain. Why don't you just buy some booze and go there as waresellers? Because they're so far out of the way, that makes more sense for us to try and make a contract to sell booze than it is for a musical troupe to randomly go to Erden. Uninvited.
I do happen to be a silent owner in a brewery.
See? Way better cover story, easier to sell, and everybody likes booze.
And I'm sure I can arrange to get a re-upload. I mean, some of the mead I've been handing out has come from that. Yeah.
We don't have to travel with a big order, and it makes sense because we're traveling by sea, which would be an expensive trip. So, trade agreement, way better cover story. And I think we could totally use Fancy as a door-to-door salesman.
Well, I mean, we can go with just the generic. We are a group of
buy our booze. These are my hired hands.
Adventurers that are trying different ways to make our way, to make our money.
Yeah.
So
Does your place of produce have any specifically elaborate vintages that we might get a toe in a door of some of the higher houses and the noble people?
We do experiment with some artisanal small batch items from time to time.
A couple barrels of those would be great. I'm thinking a couple small casks and a couple barrels, just enough to make it look like we're serious, but we're not bringing our entire warehouse there.
Fancy can just be our entertainment.
And I believe that this could come in handy for taste testing, and Fancy pulls out the alchemist jug.
I mean, wait, alchemist jug? Are you talking like the magical item, the alchemist jug? Oh,
yeah, the one that can just pour out whatever.
I don't think it makes good booze.
I think it makes excellent booze.
Free booze,
right?
Your perception of your No, I think with Fancy skill set, he could totally portray the pomp to sell to the higher end customers and get us into the door. And then we can use liquors and our more grumpy people. Not me. And talk to innkeepers and try to get
You saying you're
some
not
inside
grumpy, or
tracks.
you saying you're not going to talk to people?
I'm really good at convincing people about things. Wink, wink.
It will give us an end to like travel some different taverns, and it might good information can a lot of
Mhm.
information flows through taverns. So
Fancy slaps his thighs and says, "Well, it's settled."
How long is the ride over there on the boat?
It's a fair question. Let's see.
I feel like half of this could be figured out while we're on the boat.
Well, you gotta get the bees first before you get on the boat.
Sure.
Well, it sounds like we're settled. We're gonna be booze peddlers, tradesmen.
Merchants, perchance?
Merchants.
merchants is a
See?
good word.
Can't sell things. Not even this idea, really.
How far is the brewery from the actual main city? I don't actually know that.
I meant Erden, trip to Erden, but
So our brewery would, I mean, some of that would probably be down near the farms. When I was just thinking for a personal re-up, I would figure that we would have some distribution to the city here.
Local
So we
warehouse.
probably have some sort of a small warehouse, something, some kind of storage where I could pick up some things. Might That's cool. Yeah, as long as we don't have to sell any of this today, I will come up with some fancy names for the things and figure out what we're selling. As long as that's next session.
Yep. As long as we get the message sooner than later, then hopefully they can have it done pretty quick. I don't know about your brewery logistics.
Yeah,
But breakfast.
breakfast.
And then Ileana kind of jumps up and then, Captain!
Fancy leans over to Armaros and says, "You should get an outfit like that."
really, I was thinking that maybe he borrowed one of yours.
Oh, that it is fabulous.
I
Wonder where
start
we can
looking
get
at the this figure and looking at Fancy. I'm trying to see, does the dude look like Fancy's dad?
one.
I just do the double take to fancying him again, just to be sure. Greetings.
Captain! Your accent so familiar to me. I was wondering, could you be... Wait, could you just remind me where you're from?
Yeah, I just everything about the voice. I just lean over to Weldon and ask, have you got the time?
Uh,
Well, you're a tinker.
Morning?
You got to have some type of pocket watch.
uh,
What?
Stop watch. Go watch.
it's in the morning. That's all I got for you.
I'm late.
Thank you.
It's not the afternoon.
I don't think anybody else got it.
Fancy tries to kick up conversation with the captain, and attempts to be in the same voice as the captain was the last time he spoke. To see, and he's trying to read the captain to see if that is offensive or even noticed. I rolled performance, but Mhm. So is my impression that he is more than one entity, or what is Fancy coming up with here for his insight check? Uh-huh. Fancy is clearly jealous.
Like kind of looking at and seeing the interactions and everyone just kind of being, what's with this guy? Makes Ileana smile a lot. You can tell that she really likes the captain.
I try to ask the captain, how long does he suspect the journey will be to Erden? Well, is there anything that we can do to help prepare the ship? You know, I've done quite a bit of sailing in my time, actually.
Oh yeah, name some parts of the ship.
Well, there's the Fancy feels successful as deception, and he nudges Armoros. He says, "I think we've got a good thing going here."
Hey, Fancy, I think there might be someone needed in the kitchen.
I'll
Potatoes.
investigate. Fancy makes his way towards what he thinks might be the kitchen to see who's in need. Fancy hasn't left the room yet, so he turns around and says, "Honestly, we are completely ready. Completely. Right, guys?"
I think we already did kind of a shopping thing last time. I just need to do a booze pickup, I suppose.
We're pretty ready. Just need to get all our stuff in order before we make sail.
Plus,
Do you have any limiting factors to when you need us to be ready for you to ship off? How many days do you expect to be in dock?
they said after breakfast. We're leaving after breakfast, Weldon.
I believe I can stop by our little storage house. That should be quick. I looked at Eliana and I was like, "Thank you for your time and assistance."
As soon as she leaves, Fancy hasn't still not left the room yet. He hurries back over to the table and stuffs his pockets with little things that are good to eat that might travel well, he thinks.
Like a bunch of peas.
Just things that you shouldn't put in your pocket to eat later. Something like that, yeah.
Well, I could probably use a couple people to help. Well, no, I have a bag of holding.
Or I can help you with this. Just one more moment, please. Fancy's trying to stuff his mouth. He was trying to be more what do you call that word, Riv? Try to have some decorum while that people were here, but now now it's just mostly us. He's just stuffing his face and wiping his hands on his chaps or whatever.
Do you need a to-go bag?
No, I'm almost ready. I'm okay. Ready.
I'm gonna make my way to the warehouse.
Let's get things done.
We should all go. Come on. Even you, Emmy, I'm sure that you could carry like a mug or something.
Just wait and see if Amy was gonna shoot you or not. I do, and how much you want us to do actually at the warehouse. I do have a letter to that I've written I want to drop off for my friends and business partners. Well, I don't really refer to them as business partners. They're definitely friends, but
In the travel over, Val's gonna try to get some speaking time in with you, and this could actually be a legitimate business venture. If you are a partner, as you said, with these friends of yours, maybe it is something that could earn them some coin.
yeah.
Oh, it's not the cover. It's the truth.
The best covers are the ones that are mostly true. But yeah, I help mostly on the farm, or helped get the farm set up rather. Seems like I couldn't escape from that.
Do you have knowledge of the numbers and costs and taxes and logistics of everything that we may be asked when we arrive?
Mostly. I've been taking my profits and putting them back into the business, and including some of it to cover while I'm away. In my travels, I am always on the lookout for like rare herbs or fruits or things that we might possibly try to incorporate. They were my friends. Kip and Janice. I know Val would have heard me talk about them. Well, Val's met them, but we all thought. Well, they when I first went to Mioria, they're the ones who made sure I made it to the right temple. We've been friends since. We fought in the war against the demons and devils. They've retired, and they've a family with I think the third kid's on the way now. Encouraged me to do the same, but it's not my time to do that yet.
Just keep in mind that we will be dealing from a position of strength. It's from what I have heard of the environment there, it is not one with the cloud cover and dusky nature that is very hospitable to fruit of the vine.
Very good point. As much as I've tried to run away from my childhood of being a farmer. We do have some very fertile farmland in Canos.
Okay, so, what are we gonna go grab the stuff from the warehouse and then head to the ship, or was there anything
Yeah,
else
and
you
then
would
load
like
our
to do?
trunks. No, we're all set. We just
Yeah,
load up our gear, humming our sailing tunes. Fancy's been trying out all the sailing lingo, and he's trying to get everybody else on board with it, like batten down hatches and lift that barge and lower that boom, and
lift
he's
that
getting them all
barge.
wrong.
I will fancy. I'll remember that. Lift that barge.
Shiver me jibs and whatever.
Yeah, you got it.
I have spent some time on a boat, and I'm learning new terms here that they never taught me. How I may be making an assumption here. I'm picturing everyone there, like everyone in the place we're going would be like dressed all drab and gray. I don't know if that would be true or not. Does it look like we would really stick out there? I don't know if I would really know. Yeah, okay.
No avoiding that one.
Alright, so, we're gonna go ahead and kind of jump forward a little bit. You go to your warehouse, you collect a reasonable array of things that you are looking to take with you that makes sense for your journey, and I can let you, like, if you care about the specifics or whatever, we can create that list in a time to kind of move forward, and then you move out to down to the docks where those goods are loaded, and you're shown to, even despite being a ship, it's not a very big ship. It's a fast ship, and it does have some cargo space because it's ultimately the magician is a smuggling ship, and it has extra sails for its size, which lends to its speed. You can see some of its shape. A lot of cargo ships are usually girthier around the middle, and they have a higher drag as a result because they sit deeper in the water, and all of these different factors. Just as a kind of a direct extension of what it is that they do, they transport big, large amounts of goods. But you can see like it's taken some of the elements of some of the scout ships in its shape, as well as it's tried to minimize some of the effect of the cargo space in the shape of the thing itself. It's actually kind of interesting, and it is magnificent in structure. It is actually brightly painted like a patchwork cloak across the whole ship. It is so absurd to look upon that how could it be something so be something that is untoward at all? Who would be so blatantly obvious to be something to catch your eye, to be something that is supposed to slip under the radar? Those that know ships very well would see, to some extent the design choices and why they might be designed in that way. But to the vast majority of people that look at it, it just looks like this most absurd looking thing.
Oh, it matches my cloak.
Ain't she a beaut?
Avast! This be a fine vessel, I say.
The pride
Get
of the
these,
sea she is.
get these landlubbers on board. We'll all be buccaneers in just a moment.
If you drown him, we won't tell anyone.
Pay no attention to that Bill's rat over there, matey.
The captain just kind of turns and just starts talking to the crew. It looks like they're here. Things are ready. Why don't we begin doing what we need to do so we can make way?
Kind of smack Fancy on his arm there. Come on, let's go lift the barges.
Yeah, let's go, let's go. Hey, I forgot a spyglass. This would be better if we had a spyglass.
Oh, too bad we're leaving.
Weldon?
If I made you a spyglass, I'd make you a broken spyglass.
Doesn't have to be a working spyglass, Weldon. Not for this part.
I just pull out a piece of paper and roll it up and hand it to him.
It's like
Fancy
paper
finds
towel
himself.
tube.
Yeah.
Fancy finds himself climbing up things that probably are not supposed to be climbed, so he can get a better view and looking through his paper towel tube. Trying to use other words like Jolly Roger and Black Spot and Grog and Hornswoggle. Well,
The captain's going to say, "You are a sight to behold, my friend."
He's very excitable at times.
Very much like this ship, I see what is beneath that exterior. Well then, if y'all are ready, everything in order, all the things you need, then we wait your command. Well, my command, but at your word.
let's sail! Fancy draws his rapier and swings it around in the air as he's up on the rope somewhere.
The word has been given.
Very well. Let us be off. And then you see they take the ropes that kind of the dock workers there that have it tethered to the dock itself, and they help remove some of those, and they start bringing out a couple of the sails just to have some movement in the kind of the dock area, but it will be slow going across the river by. It is a fairly large river, and boats go back and forth, but this is a sea vessel for sure. And so it does have to be careful navigating. There's pathways in the middle that are kind of like buoyed out to show like where the bigger ships that are meant to make it to the sea are supposed to go. And then it is slow going as they go out to the sea, which after breakfast and then going to the warehouse and then loading everything up, which is still mid-morning by the time that you can leave, and it would be close to night by the time that you make it to the delta that leads off into the main ocean. The captain says that this will be usually one of the last levels of reprieve, and so it is customary to stop and anchor here before setting sail at the start of the morning. And as you can kind of see, there are many such ships anchored on the shorelines all up and down the coast, either side of the delta. In the morning, we will set sail to Erden. Unless there is urgency, we could do so now.
Suppose the morning would be fine. I say that looking around at the group.
I mean, in the morning at the captain's discretion, no matter me.
I would say it would be best, just in case there are eyes upon us even now, to continue forward as a normal ship's vessel would without any portents of haste.
And so with that, we'll kind of go off into have yet another night of sleep, and then we will set sail for tomorrow. As we make a journey, the fast sailing ship can move very quickly compared to people on land, of course, but it's still going to be across the ocean to the port towns at Erden, about a 2.5 day travel, assuming we don't have any interruption. And along that, is there any particular objective, something anybody would like to try to do with the downtime that they have over this next couple of days?
Val's going to be initially like sussing out the crew members individually and noting to see if any one of them kind of keep to themselves or to see if there was a way he could kind of ingratiate himself with them to try to learn more about the captain and then the crew as a whole.
Fancy also is going to do something similar where he's going to be, he'll regularly go around as the sailors are doing their jobs and hand out apples or other kinds of things and tell them what a good job they're doing and stuff like that.
Alright, so investigation or insight, depending on which you would prefer to try to use to endeavor some information here. Okay, insights. So the main thing that you get right away is that everyone loves the captain. To the person, every single crew member is at almost to, I would say, an extreme level dedicated to the captain, and they have no problems talking about their value and exploits from a generic nature, but they do not even entreat a little bit when it comes to specifics. A rarity.
I will not be tinkering any of my normal tinkering things because that involves fire, and fire on boats is bad.
I'm just gonna like observe sort of the crew member that needs the most help with their task or whatever, and then just start pitching in to help them. I worked on ships to escape the Tainted Isles, so I have some knowledge of what needs to happen.
This first night, I would send in my special book, send a update to the seekers, essentially asking, just telling where I'm going and if there's any contacts up there that could provide any assistance where I'll be. And I think I also would, as Dagan would spend a couple years, 2 years maybe on a ship, he would probably strip off some of the plate and help out a little bit, earn some of his keep.
Emmy would find a space to pace along on board on top, fidgeting with her hands.
And I don't get too far ahead, but when the work was done and stuff, Dagan's staring at a blank piece of paper part of the night. Maybe as the journey progressed, he gets some actual words on it, but he finds kind of a quiet corner.
Somewhere off some other corner of the ship, you guys can hear Fancy singing something like, "Put him in the scuppers with the hose pipe on him. Put him in the scuppers with the hose pipe on him." Oh, put him in the scuppers with the hose pipe on him early in the morning.
It's like doing. Yeah.
As you traverse through this first day, and so that night, first night, Dagan. Sorry, before we get to the first day, you spend some time and you try to get your report in, even with some great effort on words to paper as to what you want to say. There is a response about Burden, and that they might have some things in play that could be of assistance, but they would have to kind of circle the wagons, and so to speak, and get the resources together and communicate and see where they are, what's available, and so there's no direct news, but there is a hope that there might be connections that could be used after you arrive.
Excellent. That cheers Dagan up a little bit.
You do notice that there is a, like, not skepticism so much, but like there is a uncertainty, I guess you will, as to the totality of what help that can be garnered. Like there's a good possibility, but maybe the underlying tone is hadn't heard from them in a bit, or they don't. There is still some questions about it. but it's all kind of veiled and cryptic. They tend to not respond bluntly to things.
Oh yeah, indeed. At some point, I do share what I've learned with Val.
I did put the scroll of teleportation in the party sheet for teleportation circle
Marl's
to
just gonna
Kanos,
grab it.
for whoever was going to pick that up.
Great.
So, as you travel through the first day, it is clear skies and calm waters, just the gentle lapping of the bow against the gentle waves as they all the sails are unfurled and angled and etc. to garner the most speed. And it is, I mean, you've all been on a ship before, and some of you worked on a ship, and this ship is surprisingly fast, especially for its size. By the evening of the first day, you can see off in the horizons just the cusp of the Isles of Atunia. Far off in the distance to the north. Come through the second night. They slow the speed at night, but they don't stop. They continue on through the evening, and then when the morning comes, you can see what was off to the north is now northwest. West northwest of the boat. So almost as though you're kind of come in parallel with the Isles. As you pass into through, it's like almost like it's a very wide strait, but it is a somewhat of a lane between that and the country of Thalum. By the time that you get to the much more open parts of the water, way off in the distance, you see smoke on the horizon, billowing. Somewhat in the direction you're traveling.
Like a burning boat, or like on the water, right? Or is there land?
So that you can see very far on the open horizon, especially on a calm day without crazy waves. And so the fact that you can see the smoke, but you can't see what it is.
I do go ahead and start donning my armor, so I would have not had it on to the boat shipward.
Let's see, the captain pulls out a very elegant gold-plated spyglass.
Oh, Fancy is so jealous.
Yeah,
He says,
Fancy,
"Well,
how's your
sing
paper
me,
feel?
It telescopes
son
out,
of a biscuit eater."
and he props. There's like a little thing next to, there's the actual big wheel that turns the rudder, and then next to it there is some astral navigation tools and something like a compass and that sort of thing that's kind of next to it. And then next to that there is what looks to be some kind of almost like a very thin pedestal, and then but you can see at the top there's like a little hook that he can place that into and use, and it turns almost like the viewfinders on the port, or that kind of thing, where you can look off, put the quarter in, and you can see at a distance. So he's using the spyglass in a very similar way, and it's just like the smoke is raging pretty good. So whatever it is probably some level of trouble, at least for them. At the moment, though, it is still too early to see what it is.
Well, then, is there anything to be gleaned from that smoke as far as by its color or thickness?
Are you saying well done or well done? Fire. Hmm. Well, I would try to serve it with a chemical fire or a wood fire. Like if explosives or a liquid caught on fire, or if it's just a deck fire on the wood, if pitch was used or not.
Yeah, that amount, the amount of smoke at this distance is something of considerable size. It doesn't look like oil fire or tar fire necessarily, but it is darker than like if you were burning oak in a fireplace, which makes you think that maybe some kind of treated wood.
That very well could be a boat on fire.
Shiver me timbers.
Wonder if the wars made it to the ocean here. I asked the captain if have any ships been attacked? Is ENR, do they have ships out here?
They could. I mean, being completely landlocked, they aren't really known for having a navy. But I mean, I heard that they've done some invasion type stuff, but it'd be a surprise to me. There had been no murmurings of any difficulties of any of the ships parked or coming in when I came in. That's a thing I try to keep a nose out for too. You see.
Yeah, if they had a navy, that would take their war to a new level.
Well, the only thing I could surmise is someone expected us to leave yesterday on this route, and that wasn't us.
Another hour of travel, and then you're going fast. So an hour of travel that's a long time to move things. And at this point, the captain again pulls out his spyglass and kind of looks and see. Well, I think it is, at least to somewhat we expect. It is a large ship on fire, and then he starts panning around behind and around it. He said, "Good heavens, what are those?" Those are some big ships. Well, by the design, those are certainly elven in nature. I don't see any colors, no flags. Not really. I see big sails, though. Many sails. God, those are huge ships. Or at least some of them. And he continues to pan over. And there's a couple more. Oh, those are some sorts of frigates or scout ships. The angles. So, and it keeps looking, and right about that time, oh, some of them are turning. Looks like they spotted us. What do you want to do?
Let's fly the Yellow Jack.
What
Do we
about the ship
flee?
that's on? What about the ship that's on fire? Is it?
Ooh, let's see.
Does it look like there could be still survivors? Or can you tell what type of ship, or where that ship might be from?
Oh, that looks like a Tenarian slaver ship. And you can kind of see like almost like a little bit of a dry heave in us. If there's anyone aboard alive, it is unlikely, actually.
So we can assume they stopped a slave ship. So they're hunting criminals for what they think as criminals.
We're kind of faced with a quick decision here. We got
I'm
kind of
telling
three
you, we should
choices
fly the
way I
Yellow
see it.
Jack so that
Can
they
we
think
outrun
that
them?
we have diseased people on board. And we
Literally,
should
let's
change
get
course.
sunk.
Yeah, we can try to run away. I mean, this ship is fast.
Hey.
We could also, looks like, yep. Oh yeah, a couple of them for sure are coming right at us. We could wait.
There's no way all the
we
ships
could
could catch
unfurl
us.
the sails and wait for them. Or we could, fly the colors of peace, the parlay colors, and limp towards them. What do you want? What do you think? How are we gonna do this?
Boy,
Not in an advantageous position at all.
I got a lot of trust in this ship, but a misstep could be seen in a couple of ways here.
We have nothing to hide, so
Absolutely nothing.
why don't we use this position to learn some things? I think we should. He kind of glances over at Fancy with a grimace. Parlay with them.
you've got it.
What's the weather out? Is it right now?
Calm and clear.
Is it warm or cool or?
It's relatively warm still. As we're traveling north, the temperature is expected to drop, but it is not. We're not in the tropics, but we're in some nice, off the coast of the Carolinas kind of weather.
I was kind of wondering if I could hide my armor a bit, but I didn't want to stand out of being the trench coat guy in Florida.
Nope. Fly the colors of negotiation.
Parlay colors
down.
it is, if that's what you think. Alright, I could see some merit in it. I've talked my
If
way
it
out
was-
of many of a tussle.
If the vessel they appeared to have stopped had been something other than either a pirate ship or a slave trade vessel, I'd be more concerned.
I just shudder at the thought that the cargo is still trapped on that ship, dying right now.
Drad, how many ships have peeled off coming at us?
He only said a couple, whether that means like 2 or 3, something along those lines.
Fancy has hatched a plan in his mind that's going to be a great idea, and he's planning to use his instrument to cast fly on himself and invisibility. When the ships are within range, he wants to go invisible, or sorry, I guess cast fly on himself, and then invisibility, and he wants to go fly over and investigate the mood of the ships before they arrive, so that when they get here, he'll know something more.
On the surface, it sounds like a decent plan, but logistically, your movement's going to be pretty limited. And those ships will probably be moving faster. I think you're just going to get stuck over there without able.
Oh, they're not
like
like
back here quick enough.
You're going to get
Okay.
stranded by all the ships.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
mechanic.
if they come closer to a stop, you could do that. But while the ships are in movement, you can't fly as fast as the ships can go.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, mechanically, flight's like your movement speed, essentially.
I'm walking on sunshine.
Besides, we're going to need your wonderful negotiation skills on the ground with us.
as the colors are flown, he's still kind of keeping an eye through the looking glass to see, kind of what's up, and it looks like as they get a little closer, you could see him kind of breathe out like a long whistle, like a kind of thing. Okay, so maybe this was the right decision. Those ships, even that big sucker, they are moving. That's not natural. There's all these glowy bits peeled off the side of the deck there, with crystals on the end, and it is doing something. I don't know.
He doesn't think that we could have outrun them, I guess.
So these don't look definitely.
I want to get a look at that magical, what I could assume is propulsion.
Oh man, I'm going to ignore the fact that I say that's a our warship in the title because it's probably. Do we see that on the? Are they close enough where we see those symbols on the sails?
Yes. Yeah, they have closed the distance to now that they're a little bit away. There is one very large warship, and then two frigate-style scout ships. You see large ballista on the decks, all around, and you also see something else. You see, for lack of a better thing, is you don't really have cannons, but they look like cannons, but rather than being like a big tube, they're almost like a log of a tree with a huge crystal at the end of them, with arcane sigils that traverse the length of that log. They look like they have someone behind them, very much like Ballista, a team that is moving them and pointing them at you. The crystals, there's these long devices that dip down into, basically just barely touch the top of the surface of the water, and it looks like in some way there's all these sails, and then these glowing crystals at the bottom of the ships seem to be picking it up out of the water a little, despite its size, reducing its drag entirely. But also, you can see almost like some kind of sea-doo jet, like a little jet boat or jet like type of thing, that there is off of each crystal looks to be some kind of force that's pushing down into the water and behind it, as though it is not only picking it up out of the water it is also some level of propulsion. The ships come up and to circle with speed that is eerie, and they come to near a stop even at full sails, as they kind of triangle around you, and then the sails stay fully furled and they're still stopped. On the decks you see row after row after row of soldiers in very elegant mail and plates that looks like scale. They're like almost like scale itself, like little bitty scales that overlap one another, and not actual like plates. It's not like the Radiant Eclipse crazy spiky armor, which in some ways is actually quite impractical because it limits mobility and stuck on stuff. Everything here looks to be purpose made. It looks good, but it is function over form. Everyone is rock steady in lines in perfect rows, unmoving, and almost like like this large cacophonous boom. You hear a voice as there is an officer who is standing near the railing with a couple of people to either side holding a crystal device that it looks like he's talking into, which is booming his voice across the water. Okay. Nice.
Well, the war has no longer just a single continent war.
There's some well-equipped sailors here.
The officer that is talking into this crystal. Hail ship, unfurl sails, and come to a stop.
I look around at everybody and say, we should do that.
Well, we're in it now, Captain.
Why do you approach Inarian operations?
We don't have a magic boom talk box.
Nope.
I use prestidigitation to do like a little firework of a rum barrel in the air.
Merchants? What is your cargo? Where is your destination? And to what purpose?
Can you prestidigitate all that, Fancy?
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm thinking.
I can hold on. Let me do a little cantrip here. I was making sure what I chose. Hold on. Sorry, it's been a little bit. Thaumaturgy.
You can see the officer kind of turn. And he kind of does a circle with his hand over his head, and then kind of points at you, points at your ship, and then even though, like I said, the sails are unfurled and they're unmoving in this like triangle, and then the boat, this giant warship, picks up out of the water a few feet, turns, and starts to slightly maneuver side by side your ship.
Perfect.
I can actually, I just remembered this because I haven't used it yet, but I can actually pull water out of the ocean and shape it into letters. So I could spell out Erden with big 5-foot cube letters.
I was gonna try to do thaumaturgy and boost my voice to see if that's enough for them to hear me.
Oh, they're coming. We don't have to do any of that stuff.
Kind of hold out his one hand like out to you, like straight up like a stop, and then as the boat settles back down in the water, 20 feet, 30 feet decks apart, a obvious sign of some level of willingness to talk or be respectful. They are not at boarding distance at this moment. I would recommend you refrain from magics. You can see these large ballista and these arcane cannons turn, and they're pointed right at you with purpose. He puts the crystal thing down, and then kind of talks, at a loud speaking volume across the way instead of the big booms. All right, again. Why have you come upon some Inarian operations? Speak plainly.
We were sailing north towards Erden. We are humble merchants, selling, trading liquors.
To Erden. The land of the shadow. Once your liquors.
Come aboard. You can have a tasting.
And where do you come from?
Fancy looks around.
I just nod at him, just to be honest.
Yeah.
Farm
Nope.
Kanos.
Also, they don't want our liquors. We want them to want our liquors.
Yeah. So these fine liqueurs come from Kanos to the southwest.
And do your allegiances lie with them?
We have no allegiances. We are but merchants trying to make a coin.
You can see his eyes narrow as he looks kind of intently across the way. I would suggest you be honest.
We don't have any allegiances. He looks around like, we don't have any allegiances, do we?
National allegiances or military allegiances.
I don't. Fancy doesn't think that we have allegiances. I think that he is being absolutely honest.
I'm going to just let Fancy go with it.
Fancy believes his story, regardless. He's a merchant.
You
know what I mean?
Fancy knows he's telling the truth.
Yeah. He's a merchant. So,
Roll a perception. Or no, I mean a persuasion check.
sure.
Yeah, because he is a merchant. He's going to sell liquor. Plus 12
Yeah,
probably
plus 12.
helped.
Yeah, a lot.
We have no qualms with those from Kanos, or traders for that matter. You have reported yourself with respect. You came to us, we didn't have to chase you down. I would be careful with those that you treat us with. These
What
waters
news
are
do you
no
bring?
longer safe for those that would oppose us.
That fire, the smoke, or they're any in need of aid.
No longer. The ship was empty. If you mean, we would not condemn those innocents who have no choices in the matter to that level of demise. But those that would put them there saw no mercy, no quarter, nor would any ever be given for those that would do such a thing.
Well, these are the good guys, clearly. We are no friends of slavers.
You see him kind of looking with scrutiny. An eclectic bunch. A strange ship. Curiosities. Why
As
would
is your
lesser
ship
peoples
to
come
us.
together for such purpose? How could one entreat with each other in such a way?
Some of us have history together, some of us have fought together in wars past, and others have just come together.
To what end were these wars and the fighting you took place in them.
Keeping great evil from our homes.
And what do you define as evil?
Demons, devils. I've seen true evil and the malice that they bring, and I took a stand against it. But that is history.
We have respect for those that would fight against such things. It is those that might bring them about with their poor decisions that we have disdain for. You can see that he again puts his hand up in the air and does a circle. The other ships turn, and they start to sail back to the others. You're free to go. I suggest that you spread word of what you know. No quarter, no sorrow for those that have put us many times in such positions as you had to fight for. Whether you not have to do so again, that is our mission. And anyone that would stand in our way would soon see how fruitless such an endeavor would be. And then the big ship turns and starts to lurch forward.
I want to clarify something that you mentioned earlier. Earlier, that ship lifted out of the water and just spun around. Is that what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Because in preparation for the Nerdcation Happy Island campaign, I did look about how ships turn and whatnot. And a ship being able to do that is, oh gosh. Ships take a while to turn around.
Yes, they do. In real life, that is a huge problem. But
I
it's
mean,
also...
I think the fact that it fucking floated is like, I mean, who cares how fast it can turn if it can just out of the water and float over? Like, yeah.
Yeah, it seems these guys have some unfair advantage. I think they're allies? Question mark.
I just say to the captain, let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, there's no reason to let's just sit here.
I very much agree. Away as quickly as the sails will take us. Although, I shall have to look into these little crystal things. How handy that
Yes.
would be.
I agree.
And
For the next day, I start drawing up plans and tinkering and
Yeah, I was going to
theorizing.
encourage Emmy and Weldon, like if y'all sketch or do any sketching, to like get notes on all of that, please.
So let's go ahead and do a history check across the Ainarians. We'll do that. I want to do that so we can talk about them for a moment.
Also, critical one investigation.
Nice.
Oh, well, there goes Val. Thanks, bud.
There are some common...
Just another lesser being.
Yeah. There are some common knowledges about the Ainarians. No one has ever actually seen one. Very, very few people have ever actually seen Ainarians in person. As far as you know, no one has ever seen an Ainarian ship before. They don't have it. They have never had any. Like the captain had said when they left, like it didn't make any sense because they're landlocked. Not just landlocked, but isolated by mountain range all the way around, and they never leave. So why would they need ocean ships? So this is a new thing for certain. And they're very curmudgeon-y. They are xenophobes to a degree, but it's not so much of a that other people must die or whatever. And it's not that kind of thing. But they do think that everyone else is less than them. Pretty universally. Within themselves, they are extremely respectful of all people, and no matter their walks of life within their own civilization. But outside, everyone is looked at worst with some level of, I don't say it's not as much as disgust, but some level of you're just not. I'm having to talk to someone who's not worthy to talk to, kind of thing.
It'll waffle back and forth between pity and disdain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
depending on how much and how. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's a little of, like I have to deal with you, but also like, oh, how unfortunate it is to be you, like in some kind of way. They are, as high elves, they live a long time, long time, and their civilization and its knowledge rivals anyone else in the world because they actively seek it, and they actively bring in, and all the things that they learn themselves, none gets out, almost ever. Like, it's a very rare thing when this new Ainarian tech or new Ainarian magic, leaks out into the world. It's like usually some big, like it might be small to them, but when it gets out into the world, like the fact that they've invented or created this new thing is usually like a big hubbub in the communities that are related to that.
Technological advanced empire. Oh.
And they're known for being some of the best, particularly weapons and armor crafters in the world. They're, again, very similarly, it's extremely rare that some of the things that they make actually make it out into the world, and they are prized because they are almost like they are mastercraft beyond most any other civilization's ability, including some of the renowned dwarven smiths. They are known for magic prowess, technological prowess. They are a force, and so they're whatever's going on with them, and why they're out in the world and unhappy about it. It's not a small deal. Not a small deal. You could tell by the way the troops stood that they're also, like, they're well equipped and they're well trained. It's not a thing in combat that you would want to have to necessarily fight like regular troops to fight against. Regular troops would lose on equal footing. Okay, so with that being said, they peel away and sail back to the main group, as do you. Start continuing your trip back through Erden. As we go on towards the end of the next night, we expect, since we really weren't delayed all that much, that it should be middle of the next day when you make it to Duskport, which is the one of the largest towns in Erden, but also one of their big harbor towns. So as we kind of traverse the rest of the day, is there anything that y'all want to talk about or discuss relative to these events?
Yeah, my next vacation destination is to go there and look at their shit.
I'm afraid they wouldn't let us anywhere close.
You think you're gonna get through as a high elf? Pretend to be a high elf?
I have big ears.
My
I mean, you have
concern.
looked in a mirror lately, right?
How do we know
Yeah.
Weldon isn't a high elf that's like 1,500 years old?
Yeah,
Maybe that's
yeah,
how
yeah.
they get hairy and their ears keep growing.
I just have to come up with something that they haven't and sell it to them. It seems like crave knowledge.
They're Yes, I imagine the rest of the world is very, very curious about their tech. A ship? There's nothing that any of the other countries that I know of that could even remotely come close to what that ship could do.
I bet they could set a ship on fire.
What is Emmy doing right now?
Sleeping.
Emmy's just
She
taking it all
slept through the
in.
whole thing.
No, she was pacing about, just watching, taking it all in because it doesn't. Those things do not work the way that they should work in the natural world.
I go up to Emmy. You have any ideas on how they would work? If you were to try to make something like that on maybe a smaller scale.
I mean, I could. It's very, very powerful, whatever it was. I suppose with the right elements, you might could get something to work.
You have you should roll the intelligence based tinkering check. We made that for you.
Sorry, my laptop screen went black. It didn't want to pop back up.
I know our hackers.
You know that there are crystals that infused with power can cause some level of levitation. They can be used to hover things, lift things, but typically small. And there was a bunch of them, but even still, it makes no. It doesn't relate to the capabilities of what happened. The power that those crystals were able to do is on a level many-fold larger than what is known to be workable with those types of magically enhanced crystals.
I've never heard or seen the likes of something like this before, but I would be very interested to find out where they found these crystals and do some deeper study on them. Where did they say they were from?
ENR.
Oh, is that where we're going?
No, we're going to Erden.
Okay, so I've got to put that on my list. Okay.
How well is your visual memory? How well can you sketch things you've seen?
Sketching becomes a bit mixed, but I could give it a try.
You know, my old man was a good sketcher. I bet I could sketch something.
So
I believe I have parchment here and a pen.
Oh God. Yeah. I get my book out and hand it to Emmy, and I open it up and initially see some words in Celestial that just kind of fade and disappear, and it's just a blank page. So you think you could sketch that in here? Not fancy. I don't know if he would draw.
I could try. I know this thing has like disappearing ink. How long would I have to sketch?
As long as you need.
Dryad, would I need to attempt to roll anything to sketch what I saw?
So I think that, like, particularly both of the Tinkers, it's something that, from a schematics and kind of purpose, that you, like, part of your training has at least some underlying level of skill at being able to, not necessarily just draw artistically, but be able to sketch what you see. The for you particularly, it's a matter of how much did you pay attention. Because if you focused on it and you were enamored by it and you kind of like hyper lock in on it, your detailed
Excellent.
memory is great.
The fantastic. Let me roleplay this. I got it. So I began to sketch the crystals in detail, and then a little bit of a cannon, a little bit of a golden spyglass. And it's quite a mixed up drawing, but there are parts and elements of everything we've seen in the last 12 hours. Nothing in entirety, though.
Of course, Fancy is also trying to draw his, and I posted it in the Playing D&D channel.
After Amy gets done, I was like, oh, this is wonderful. And then I write a little bit on celestial, and then it all kind of fades, disappears.
Put that on the screen so that crystal drawing gets put on the recording.
Is that what you want, Diggin?
That is perfect. Thank you very much.
Oh, I'm happy to please. I wonder where to get one of those crystals. Where was that again? I need to write that down in my book. Can you spell that for me?
EINAAR. I think that's right.
Anar has fantastic crystals. Must study.
Well,
ARR.
Yeah, is that what I said?
No, you said AAR. I thought.
R. EINR.
We are on the sea, I suppose.
Arden is a mysterious kind of place too, with unusual magics. Maybe maybe we can see if we can find any cool crystals there.
You think they have something of the like? I was always excited about the boat trip, but now something at the end that sounds promising.
May not be quite like that, but it may be something of a similar vein.
No, you're muted.
Maybe they just like
Floated over the mountains.
flooded the whole valley, and like it's just one huge lake now, and they're just living on boats.
Yeah, it could be an ocean or a giant lake in there. No one, very few people have ever seen it.
Seemed like it would have been hard to build that in secret. Would have maybe
Would
had
it?
to do it out. I mean, if they didn't build it in there, they didn't make that a lake.
Oh, I mean, if they didn't make it a lake, there's lots of places in the north they could have easily built in secret, I think. North of Davin, the Tainted Isles, I mean, very sparsely inhabited and would be easy to hide a fleet.
Not a lot of odds there, I guess.
Right.
Yes.
That was a good pause button.
Yeah, as we're sailing, I'm going to sail to the kitchen.
What time do you need to
No
start,
deck.
Zeb? You have
Okay.
I have Gardettos.
Welcome back, everybody. So, we left the Ainarian warships behind and sailed the rest of the day, discussing a little about, the news that is now, things have spread in different ways than we expected. Make it through that evening. And again through the night. Anything in the nighttime before the next day starts you'd like to do?
probably share a bottle of the mead with the crew on the ship one night.
With the crew or just amongst yourselves?
With the crew.
Ah. Try to win over some hearts, I see. Captain is very appreciative. It is still yet another very clear and calm day. The temperatures have started to cool dramatically over yesterday to today. It's not like freezing cold or anything, but it's not the 85 to 90 degrees that it was when you left. It is now the 65, 70 degrees this far north.
I would spend the evening working by candlelight as long as I could to sketch out those crystals and details that are around the crystals, so not the whole ship, just like the crystal, individual.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
With a little side of spyglass here and there
Go ahead and do
in my leather journal.
a tinkering dex on this one. You did the int to kind of what you thought about all that stuff and kind of had some memory to that, but kind of what you're coming up with here and drawing in your book and that sort of thing.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that once you're intrigued by something, you focus in on it, and the details are important to you. And so those things that you're really caring about, you're transcribing very well.
I'm gonna take a little bit to make some more healing salves with my herbalist kit.
Fancy's gonna try to talk to the captain and find out where he got such a cool spyglass from. Where could he get one? How much does it cost? You think we could get one soon?
Kind of nudges you and is like, well, don't tell them Ainarians, but I bought this here in Tunira, which is the capital of Tunaria. I've been there many a time. There's money to be made there. All kinds of fine goods in their auction houses across that major harbor there. It is a center of trade in the world, after all.
It's amazing.
Cost a pretty penny too. You want to get a fine spyglass, you're looking maybe upwards of 1,000 gold, but this is beyond fine. I wouldn't share the intimate details of such transactions. Wouldn't want to betray those trusts, but it is more than that.
You can see that Fancy is dismayed at that answer, that we can't just park the boat and get a new spyglass for him.
Oh god, I'm not one of those races without dark vision as I put my goggles on. Give me dark vision.
Just so we can see it in the game. Little zoom. Okay, so Dustport, in being part of Erden, is a place where the veil between the Shadowfell and the regular material plane is rather thin. As a part of that effect, mist clings to everything. It has some cobblestone streets, which is a luxury. Not normally seen in. I mean, only some of the bigger, the biggest cities actually have cobblestone streets in all of the world. The architecture of the buildings, as you can kind of see, is very dark and in some ways gothic looking. Everything's all pointy and spiky to some extent. Everything's dark. The street lights have a very light, eerie light that glows from them. In some ways, it's not just like yellow lamplight. There's always like this little touch of blue to it, blue or purple to it. The people that you can see kind of moving about, and there are plenty. Those races that we had talked about, you can kind of see just as the ship is pulling into dock. There's mixes of mostly humans and a few Shatterkai and the Vistani. You can kind of see off to the side in very bright colored clothes, like lots of yellows and pastel colors and things that are just very strong contrast to the dark gloom that seems to sit around them. You see these covered carriages that look very elegant, that have blacked over windows that move along the street. A couple of them. There are large covered wagons that the Vistani kind of around, and between those wagons they usually set up other bits of tent type cloth that goes between them to set up like little mini tents in between the wagons that they use. Other than the regular visage of this kind of stark difference to the normal harbors you see, it's still a bustling town. Harbor has all the mechanisms and things like a working harbor would have. It still functions very much like normal society, even though it has its own very specific spin on everything. The magician moves up dockside, and then the workers there lash things on, and then the gangplank comes out down to the dock itself, and the captain, kind of is directing the crew to get everything in order, to stop and stay, and he'll come to y'all and say, once we get these things unloaded that you have brought aboard, we'll probably be making way pretty soon. Any last things we can help with before you're on your own?
Just stay safe. We'll be fine.
Oh, I have a route in mind to skirt whatever nastiness might be that we ran into the other day. I shan't be surprised again.
Yeah, you'll have quite the debrief for Ileana when you get back through that way.
I tell her this, her eyes might go wide enough they'll pop out of her head.
If you should come across that boat, would you make a sketch for me? I want to add some details.
Of one of those big warships.
Mm-hmm. The floating crystal
Yeah,
one.
get closer is what she's saying, I guess.
Emmy, I'd be happy to share some of my notes. You want to see them?
You are so kind.
Well,
I
you're
mean, we
much
can
as
compare
I
notes later.
expect. And want of myself to help you in this endeavor. It will be low on my priorities when encountering a said ship. My first priority will be to not do so. And I hope to disappoint you.
How unfortunate.
He kind of turns to everybody. A lot of the people here are good. They've run away from things that are bad, so they know what that life is like. I've done several trades here before. Everyone kind of holds themselves with a bit of caution. They're aware of the shadows that loom around them, and of both necessity. They run from it, and they embrace it. It is some duality. Be careful, and good luck with whatever this is.
So, good luck to you, Mr. Light Your Path.
I hope you have a fun trip, wherever you go.
I smile at that, but then my attention is towards the dock in this new city right now. I'm really curious as I look around, knowing that to the south of this country is a war front. Do I see what I might think of as an elevated military presence? Oof. Oh yeah, my wingman.
Well, we probably need to find a place to store the wares and an inn to stay.
Sounds like a solid plan.
And then try to introduce ourselves to inform ourselves on some of the local parties.
So tavern. Start with the tavern.
I mean, I could afford to go somewhere nice, you know.
Fancy's just singing to himself, humming a new tune that you guys haven't heard before. Something dark.
I'm gonna misread that as attraction.
Does he?
I was going to completely ignore it.
Did Val seem to stand out more here? I mean, does he? The Shadokai that are here, does he? I mean, could I tell a difference?
All right. Well, I will. My first objective is to try to find the harbor master.
Yeah, there's a handful of, like I said, the workers that are unloading things or loading stuff or just generally tending to boats. There's a bit of it's almost like a valet stand, kind of at the end of the dock, where there's someone who stands there, kind of overwatching things and having different sets of papers that he shuffles through. Seems like an obvious choice.
Well, looks like we need to go see the harbor master and get our wares unloaded, and probably get assigned to a storage location for the goods, and probably get a couple in recommendations.
Let's go do that.
As you kind of walk up to the gentleman behind this station, you can see that he's one of those very pale, that from just a little bit of skin you can see. They're mostly covered head to toe. There's only like a little bit of skin around the eyes and maybe a tiny bit under the forehead under the hat that they wear. They have that cloth mask that goes over their nose and mouth and like neck and stuff. There's very little exposed flesh on these, and what you can see is exceedingly pale. this worker will greet you. Our enigmatic explorers, entranced by the twilight of our town. Duskport delights in the dichotomy of darkness and light, a delicate dance of dawn and dusk. What brings you to this bastion of balance and bravery? Seeking secrets, surely, subtle signs of Shadow's sovereignty?
Oh, I like this guy.
I think we can go with all the above, a little more with others, and all some. But primarily, we would like to find ways to sell our wares. Or his wares. And I point at Boy Dagan there.
Yes, our immediate concern is storage. It's not the most interesting concern, but after that, we would love to know about some taverns, some places with maybe a bit of high-end taste.
Yes,
Knowledge
nice
do you
lodges.
seek. In the Shadow's embrace, knowledge is a knife, double-edged and dangerous. It cuts both ways, revealing and obscuring. He just kind of looks at you, head cocked to the side, a little.
So, storage.
If we could move past your flowered flippantry, I think we would do well just to have storage for our wares. And then perhaps you could recommend a place where we could speak to those we could peddle with.
Perhaps a sampling you would like.
Cunning curtailment of current communication. This way. And then he points off to what looks to be essentially a warehouse kind of off to the side. Your goods delivered, they shall be. Rest you seek, this way you shall go. And it points to one of the large buildings off behind, many stories that the lights glow through what looks to be stained glass windows all throughout. Rest in
I like to
respite.
look at this place.
I did not get your name, good sir.
Yeah. How much for the offloading fees?
You can see he raises a finger and kind of shakes it like the no kind of thing. Duskport is a place of perpetual paradox. Names are not for knowledge for those that do not know. And he just kind of like waves you on.
Well, kind stranger, we thank you for the knowledge you have given.
A little curt nod, and then he goes back to his papers.
It's a guy, I think he needs to get out of his harbor port a little bit. I think he gets stuck in his job a little much.
So as you kind of leave the dock area and head over to the large, the tall building with the stained glass windows that he talked about, it was some kind of inn or tavern. Seems that that's what he meant based on kind of the context clues of words that he was saying. Although you notice that pretty starkly that they have a very that this type of person has a very strange mannerisms to their speech. It's almost riddle-like, but it's highly alliterative.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to stay tucked back and make sure he figures out exactly where all the stuff's getting taken to and stored.
Yep, kind of linger around, and you can see as the barrels are being unloaded, workers have them on like these kinds of carts, almost like little hand carts, and they are taking them to the warehouse. And as they go through, he's checking them off on a particular ledger. Each one kind of stops. They hand something over to him, and then he goes in, finds a ledger, and then makes a particular note. And then the large warehouse place, they're moving over that way. On your way to this large building, you pass by several of these large covered wagons of the bright and colorful Vistani. And they, unlike others who are often head down and going about their business and that sort of thing, these are like the people as you walk by, the hawkers on the street that are trying to get your attention and, hey, come see what I've got to say, or that sort of thing. Greeting. Welcome, seekers of truth, to the edge of what is known. The cards shall show what the eyes cannot see, the mind cannot grasp. Come, a reading for you all. Your auras
guys.
are of particular interest to me.
Guys, we
What
should do
the
this.
fates have in store for you?
Fancy goes over immediately.
I will do a reaction and try to grab him. And I will roll an acrobatics check to try to grab his scruff. Sure.
With deftness, he eludes your grasp as he clambers over to the table that is covered in velvet cloth under a canopied tent-like thing.
I look at Weldon. Just keep an eye on his coin purse. What could it hurt?
Oh, I'm walking away.
Ah, travelers, come closer. Let the mists of fate embrace you. I see the shadows have touched your path. Their touch is both a guide and a warning. Let the cards read what befalls before you on this treacherous journey that I see you on, out of your normal circumstance and into a place of unknown. Come, allow these cards to tell what is and what should be.
Show me. Show me what the card's just going to say. What do they know about me?
The large velvet table, there is this beautifully crafted deck of cards. On the back is this it's like a black rubbery textured surface with this gold inlay on the back of the card. It's got that gold like paper edging that you see on certain books, and like the really fancy gold edges on the cards themselves. And you can see he picks them up and he starts to shuffle them in very elaborate ways, like a close-up magician doing shuffling and card tricks, like sleight of hand kind of things right here at the front. He kind of thrusts one arm forward with the deck in the other hand, and then out comes what looks to be a large map that he rolls out, and it is in fact a map of Ralidar. And on that map, he takes and then shuffles, and then flicks a card out, and then quickly turns over card into one spot. The sun and the moon and the card of judgment. Clustered together, the sun and the moon together and apart in cahoots and contrast. Something to be either judgment from or judgment to. Interesting future that this does hold. What opposes the sun, the moon, and its judgment? And then he turns over a card. The Empress, the Emperor, and in the third, the Tower. How quaint, how strange that there might be leaders. An emperor and an empress can't exist together, so it must be some conglomeration of those that are normally not ruled alike. And with the Tower, what could the Tower mean when it comes to a relationship with these great powers? Opposed, opposite of the moon and sun and its judgment. Across, on one point of the star, it turns over two cards. Temperance and strength. Across, in opposition to death and the world card. That is strange. The death and world card together are those that usually symbolize cataclysmic events. Only opposed in opposition to temperance and strength. And in the middle, the fool, the hanged man, and justice. In the center of all these elements, the hanged man and the fool sits upon justice, the scales of justice. You seem to sit in the midst of all of these things. Are you the fool? Do you come to dole justice? Are you the hanged man? Sit betwixt what is needed of temperance and strength against the world's destruction, in a fight between the Empress, the Emperor, and the Tower versus the sun and moon and their judgment. This is a dark foretelling. I do not envy you your fate.
Fear not, for I am a champion.
I don't know if that's what the card said.
I'm looking at that fool card. That guy looks like a bard.
Ah,
You
da,
have
da,
a
da,
hat
da.
like that?
He may have a sword like me,
I'm just
but
saying.
I am certainly that dragon at the bottom. That's me, right?
Death?
Yes, that's me.
Eh,
No?
it may not be the flex you think it is.
With like the like very delicate hand movements as they kind of like they're displaying out to show what is before you. I do not know that is what the cards have said about you. I fear for what it says and what the reality may be. But
What do you think
at
it
its
says?
center, regardless, the role is important.
Well, I appreciate your time here. How much for this reading?
Oh no. This is one time I do not believe that I could ask for such a price. The
All right,
things
then.
This says it may be in our benefit that you know, and that in itself will be payment. Never before have I had a reading so both ominous and truthful and scary.
What is Drad out of character? What is the card to the left of the fool? I can't read it on my screen.
It's the hanged man.
Not the hung man. That's...
Hmm. Well, I don't think Fancy can make much of this. He assumes that he's at the center of it all, but I don't I don't know.
Believe in fortune telling. People in engineering.
Yeah, but no, Fancy's on board with this. He's like, yeah, this is totally about me, and he's somehow the hero.
Tipping the scales of justice against what is to come.
Okay, Fancy goes back to the group and tries to tell them that in this reading it was all about him.
Because I
Of course it was.
I let them know there was a card of a bard right there at the front. What was that card's name again?
I mean, in this particular case, it was incorrectly marked as the fool, but the point is that means entertainer.
But how would the fool know it's incorrectly marked?
You got him. He doesn't respond.
Fancy. So far, 2 for 2. Everyone here we've spoken to speaks more like you than us. So this may be your place. This may be your calling.
You might be normal here.
Oh my!
In the tent next to the tarot reader, an elderly lady comes out with a crystal in her hand, held up kind of before, looking down at the crystal and walking, and you can see her kind of steering around and looking, like she's not looking where she's going, she's following the crystal, and then she stops only a few feet away from you and kind of looks up and gasps, I've had a vision.
What was that again?
I've had a vision.
Tell me your vision, woman.
In the
I
land
think the card is
where
right.
night never fades, where the moon's pale light is but a memory, lies a place where the dead walk as the living. Seek the stone that breathes, the crypt that sleeps, and the answer you will find.
Brad, do you have that text in? Can you paste it in for us so I can read it?
Sure can.
You said she was following a crystal?
Yes.
I want to really study this crystal. Can I touch it?
You go to touch it, and she's kind of looking at the group as a whole, and she's not, certainly noticing you, but, you go to touch it, as soon as you touch it, she goes, yeah, no.
Oh, my apologies. It just seems very fascinating. What is this crystal?
It looks like a piece of quartz that has a blue tint to it. It's a focus, something to direct the spirits and their dreams, to part the shadows that ever linger and inhabit every aspect of this place, for a moment of a ray of truth.
Can you teach me how to wield such a thing?
You may have the temperament, but
She
it
stands
is
very proudly.
rigorous training.
I'm no small person, but I'm no big deal to something hard. I can do hard things all the time.
This I have no doubt, but first you must be one of us, and at present you are not.
What? One of whom? I'm one of everyone.
The Vistani, of course.
She scratches her head. She has no idea what that is.
And when you come to know, then that day you might seek such guidance.
I go over to Armaros and I say, I'm troubled, my friend. What do you suppose a stone that breathes mean?
Stone that breathes. Coral? It's the only stone I know of that breathes.
Crypt that sleeps.
Write it down and ponder it later.
It is. It's linked in the chat.
No, it's down.
In character, he was.
Yeah. You in real life, you better write that down because I'm not going to remember.
The old lady's kind of staring again at her crystal, and then you can see her eyes glaze over white, like very white, and then what looks like streaks of lightning in black come up up from the ground or the bottom of the eyes up through that very white background of her eyes. And again she asks, "A prophecy?"
I'm worried about her, so I grab her hand.
"Oh, no, dear. All is well. But we've had some element. So much energy surrounds you. A storm is brewing, not of wind and rain, but of souls restless, seeking solace. To mend what is broken, you must first face what is hidden. Only then will the shadows yield."
Can you put that one? Thank you.
Morrow's kind of like rolls his shoulders back, kind of like you know, like shrugging off a coat that you don't want on you. Gesture, like that didn't sit well.
And like with this weird, like her eyes kind of turn back to normal, and like around her begins to glow very slightly, this very purplish hue. And then people from behind her, from the wagons, they kind of, a handful of them rush out, and you can see this purplish glow like connect, like wisps, to something you've seen very recently, of like the pylons and their connection to the portal connect from her to the people that rushed up behind her, and linked together in saying in unison, they begin almost like a flash mob theatrical performance. In the land of twilight, and this is like 5 people talking like in unison that harmonizes just the words speaking, and so there's like that weird harmony echo kind of effect that's happening when all 5 are talking exactly in unison. In the land of twilight, shadows dance, and then of course then they make these crazy dance movements. A dance of danger and delight. The tune they follow is old, older than the bones of kings, and it calls to those who have forgotten the sun's warmth. The Raven Queen watches from her throne, but her gaze is drawn elsewhere. Something stirs in the dark, a force that seeks to unweave what has been woven. To stop it, you must find the loom where the threads cross. Seek the graves of the nameless, the tombs of the forgotten. There, where the memory lingers, like a lost lover, you will find the key to the shadow's embrace. And then all...
So
check them for like, are they still breathing? Are they dead or just passed out?
Do a medicine check while you do that. Okay, what were you saying, Kirk?
up until this last thing, I was just kind of smiling, taking everything kind of jovially, thinking like, man, we look such like tourists right now, and maybe that's good. But this last thing got his attention a bit more.
They could be leaving. They could be dying. Who knows?
You have become quite adept at assessing medical aspects of people. unfortunately, recently you've had a lot to do with death and dying and being able to tell, like, are they alive or dead or the like. You can say conclusively that their collapse into some sort of catatonic state, shallow breathing but rigid, unmoving, isn't being faked. But they are alive.
Is there anybody else in the wagons? Like, I kind of like look around, like, if I see more people, I'm gonna be like, do you want to like pick them up off the floor, or?
Other than those that are right there, everyone seems to be eyes averted in willful ignorance.
Must
Okay.
be.
And I look at the group and I say, we probably should not leave them
Make haste.
in the road.
No problem at all. No problem at all, guys. Let's just help them over here into this tent. No problem. And as Fancy's trying to grab one, he's also like pilfering their pockets and seeing if they have anything to eat.
Because you
not
announced that to us, I'm going to attempt to stop you with a caution of don't do that. Rescue rabbit.
Just
Stop.
I
Nope.
was just
Nope. Hands in the pockets.
okay.
I cast light on his hands to kind of encourage him.
We see where your hands are. All right.
But yeah, Fancy does try to like carefully drag them over to the tent where the old lady came out of.
I guess that helps. This looks awkward as fuck,
Amaros, help him.
I'm helping.
Amaros is stronger, right?
I'm bigger. I'm
Yeah,
necessarily stronger.
There's a chance
Lean
they do this like 12 times a day, like every
Why
time
are
new
you-
people walk by.
Oh yeah, I mean it could be some kind of act, and they take a potion.
I'm not touching him. I'm gonna be incriminated.
To produce the catatonic state. Some kind of herb.
But it would
Or
be hard
compound.
for them to extract money from us if they're passed out on the ground.
Or maybe while we're carrying them, their hands are in our pockets.
Guys, these are not thieves. This something is telling us what to do next. We should not ignore it.
I mean,
We should find out where kings are buried, or people older than kings are buried.
You know what? Those are answers we could probably get.
at a tavern.
Yeah.
I did come up with a song, guys. I don't know if you heard the last time I sung it. About the
I
ship.
heard you could sing it later.
Nothing like a song when you're carrying passed out catatonic people.
Yeah, just sing a
I mean,
nice
make-
chanty while you're moving corpses.
They're not corpses, they're alive. And they're not going to be hungry when they wake up. So they're not going to need this.
All the work we go.
So yeah, we help get them into the tent, and I guess it's comfortable. I don't know, but we don't like just pile them up. I mean,
So
Close
still
your
on the
eyelids.
floor, because you don't want them to wake up and then like fall out of a chair while they're still like groggy. So on the floor still, but no, not piled.
I was just making a joke with that. I mean, I guess if they had like little sleeping bags or something in their tent, we just put them like on that, and then yeah, this is an awkward situation here.
Don't worry about it, guys. Let's get to a tavern. These folks will be fine.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Sure,
worry
they're
about it.
fine.
If it's not awkward to the locals, then our awkwardness is awkward.
Let's just, yeah, we put them in there. I just say a little a little blessing to Mistra. That sounds even more awkward with the situation, but yeah.
They're all just still kind of rigid, and then like as you go to leave, you hear a little movement as you can see the rigidity start to relax, but they don't come conscious as you walk out and leave. And you head to the large building that was the tavern.
All right, maybe no more sideshows. Let's just maybe get to the tavern. I'm looking at Fancy.
You have to admit it was important to get that tarot card reading because it was all about me, right?
That crystal was fascinating. A focus. Do I think I need a focus?
I don't know.
Not really. I think your focus is your pen.
To focus or a focus?
The hard questions.
She definitely has heard none of that.
As you enter this now large building, there's a pretty obvious space that looks like, like a teller window type thing where people would come in and the innkeeper might be there. And it's a little different than like a normal tavern, where usually it's just like the bar where people get drinks. Also happens to be where the innkeeper is. This is like a small space. You can see keys in the back, and like it's more like a modern hotel, like a skeevy hotel, like with the actual physical keys and no longer cards, that kind of thing. But and then there's like a big lobby, and you can hear through, like off in the distance in the back, there are sounds of things that sound more like a standard tavern, separate from this main piece. And there is a Vistani behind this entry teller window thing.
What? Remind me again what the Vistani are.
Vistani are human, or a type of human, like some kind of sub-race of human specifically, that's like a combination of a little bit of race and culture. And they're very notably different from those or other humans around them, as their actions are very much more flamboyant and large and that sort of thing, but then they're also dressed not gray and dark and the like the others are. They're like, in some way as a culture, they're like gypsies.
And the Vistani is where? Behind the bar? They're the.
He's behind a counter, behind a grate, essentially. At
Yeah,
a
it's
reception
like
desk.
It's like a teller window, like a reception desk, yeah, kind of thing.
Like 1800s bank in the Wild West. All right.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Ah, travelers.
Hello there. I believe we're looking for maybe lodging for the night, and I know it's not night yet, but we'd like to stay here and maybe some information.
Ah, it isn't just rooms you seek, but guidance. For the right price, even the shadows have secrets to share.
Well, let's stick with rooms for now, so we can get settled. And kind of maybe could we purchase? Would you happen to have like a rough local map you sell for newcomers like us?
Oh, there are not newcomers like you.
Yeah, yes. This one's special. I
You
know.
are all very special, yes. And welcome to our abode as it is. Yes, rooms at a gold a room a night. 5 silver. I think I could part with at least a local sketch of a map.
That would do. Just facilities, stores, and such. If you could label some of them, good for shopping.
We don't need shopping. We need a crypt.
A crypt?
Information here is like gold. Keep your trap shut.
You seek the mausoleum at the center of the ancient cemetery. Another one of you, I see. I bid you be respectful.
What do you mean another one of us?
Oh, nothing at all.
I put a gold on the counter.
Would you happen to have better accommodations for more gold?
Like actively looking away from the gold you put on the counter, obviously actively looking away from the gold you have on the counter, like looking up and off, like Stevie wondering it a little, you know.
I put 5 gold on the counter.
Yes,
I put
for 5 gold, I might could find a fancy room if that's what you're looking for.
would I drop a platinum on the counter. I go, this should cover any additional requests, possibly
Well, that depends upon the request. I could think of a few that
within
might cost you a penny more than
reason,
that.
reasonable requests.
Who's
As
to find what is reasonable
a-
when it is
as a
your
tenant.
request?
Good question. I like you.
But as I
Just
said,
lodgings
For
and
the right
room service and
price.
such.
many secrets can be revealed.
How
I just
about,
leave the platinum on the counter and ask for higher quality of lodging.
We're gonna get the same rooms at a higher price.
yeah, but now that's kind of the information deductible there.
Mm-hmm.
How many
No, the-
rooms would you like? I could prepare our fanciest rooms with certain services. How
I don't
many
need a
would you
fancy.
like?
I just need a little square to sleep on.
You
That's
can
right,
stay
so
with
we-
me.
So we need 2 rooms.
Rooms?
No.
So quaint for such an bolsterous adventuring group of travelers.
We shall
Surely you
take
might
6
want
rooms.
more of the fancy rooms than that.
We'll take 6.
How are we gonna do 6? We only 5 of us.
Fancy, you didn't learn how to count. I'm sorry.
6 rooms if they're all together, please.
Oh, altogether 6 rooms.
As adjacent
the
as possible.
fancy rooms.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Yes. So a platinum apiece then.
I'm paying for all of it. Here you go. And an additional platinum for you.
Ah, you do want to barter. How
Just say-
wonderful!
There's nothing more valuable than goodwill.
And what secrets do you seek?
Fancy starts to speak up again. It's certain that he's going to ask about a crypt.
Nope. Shh, shush. Shush. Well,
Kinda-
first thing I would like to
kinda
know
pouts.
is, can you point me to a local tailor? I think we need to dress more appropriately for where we are. Or if you have an in-house tailor,
Why, of course we do.
then send him up in a few hours if you may.
Now, about those secrets.
Fancy starts to speak up again, almost certainly going to ask about a crypt.
Ask away, Fancy. He wants to give it.
So we're looking for a crypt with some stone that talks. Wait, there's alive. I think it's alive. What do you know about
It
that?
is alive.
Wait, let me think. Let me think. Uh, a stone that breathes, a crypt that sleeps. Hmm.
I'm
Any
afraid
of that
all
make sense to
things
you?
that reside in the crypt tend to sleep.
Well,
Belongs
I
to sleep.
mean, of course, because they're dead, but I don't know if that's the crypt that we're talking about. See, I'm a legend, and
Oh, you are known.
of course, and there's the world balance. I mean, everything relies on me. I need to find the correct crypt, and it really has something to do with breathing stone. Very,
Breathing stone in a crypt, you say?
it's very difficult. These riddles.
Is there a library in town or a university knowledge center?
In a manner of speaking, the Incunabula have their own research facility, and much knowledge is stored there. Although, I don't know that they'd be willing to share much of it with you. But
Actually, I
maybe.
do have a question.
Oh?
You said somebody like us has already been here looking for a crypt.
I did?
Thought we already paid you for the secret.
Oh, well.
Hold on. As the person we're talking to is thinking about this, it's like I ask, do you enjoy a little drink? Sort of my speciality.
Festivities are always of great import in our society.
I take out one of the because I would have put when we unloaded, I put like a lot of sampler stuff in my bags. I do take out a little bit of the mead, and it's like, well, this drink is ancient. It may be one of the first drinks, and pour a little mead into a cup. It's like, please try it.
Why, this is delectable. And you make this?
I do.
And I suppose. What?
You're the first person here to get to sample it.
Well, I am lucky indeed, blessed by the gods above, or below.
Maybe both. Pour a little bit more.
Oh, you spoil me so. Good drink is a rarity in these parts.
I'd like to change that.
Ah, business folk. Maybe I have you wrong altogether. Maybe I should have got you the even fancier rooms.
Oh, you're holding back from us.
Oh, now, not exactly. But maybe.
Fancy tries
Maybe
to
he gave us what we asked for. I didn't say fanciest. I said better.
to put on the smolder and
Blue steel.
tries to convince that that the is this a male or female behind the thing? I don't even know.
Whoa, whoa,
It's,
whoa, whoa.
Sorry.
it is
If
a
you have to ask, you can't afford it.
Isn't it? Is that what it was?
it is
Male. Okay.
it is
No, so
it is
Fancy still puts on the smolder
he is
and tries to persuade him that he should tell what he knows about the other person or the other group or the other thing looking for the crypt. One of those type. What did you mean by one of those type?
Oh, as of late there is much bustle to and fro. Many people entreat upon Erden through this port, and there's been traipsing back and forth. Off into the wilderness. Well, now that you say it, I mean, the direction they head, I mean, might be the ancient cemetery in the center of Erden. I don't know much about it, though.
The center. This of course, in Fancy's small brain, he has an epiphany. He's like, the map. The center of Erden is where the map is leading us.
Internal.
What map is it that you speak of? Perhaps
Well-
if you show it to me, I might be able to lend some insight as to what you're looking for.
That's the map that we got from him.
I mean, we just copied a map, right? We just copied a map, and we have a circles, John.
Yeah, 5
Fan-
silver for a map.
Fancy.
No, yeah.
Oh yeah, we
You know
did.
what? You know what? Hey, Dagan. Hey, Dagan. Take Fancy over there to go look at that shrubbery. Those are nice potted plants. Hey, Fancy, if you go over there, I'll buy you a new instrument.
I
You
mean-
wish
I
to
mean-
purchase an instrument? Why, we have a fine selection at available if you would like to so see. I could
Yes.
send up a collection to your rooms later.
Please do.
What
so Fancy
kind
will
of
keep his
instrument
mind
would you
busy.
like?
Yes, Fancy. What kind of instrument?
Well, I play string and I play the pan flute. And you've got him now. He's like distracted. He's talking about all these instruments.
Okay, why don't you put a list together, and maybe he can accommodate.
Well, we have some of the world's best in a collection. Our merchants travel far and wide. Trade is a cultural responsibility of ours, you might say.
Fancy dreaming about new instruments. Mosey's up to his room. If he knows where it is, I guess.
Just randomly looking for doors.
Fancy, stop him.
I'll go
Okay.
escort
Yeah.
Fancy.
We're gonna head to our rooms and get comfortable. If we need anything else, we will be gladly to contact you.
What, you don't want to know any more?
Not right now. I'm exhausted. Less from my journey, more because of that.
But it is midday. There's plenty of time left in the day for rest and relaxation.
Yes, we must get accommodated and handle our wares.
Oh, worry not, those are being taken care of.
Yes, but this old man over here, Dagan, he's worried about his goods. Although he shares, he wants to make sure the moisture is correct in the warehouse.
Okay, when Fancy
he's
gets near
crashing.
the steps to maybe go upstairs, he like gains his senses and then turns around and runs back to the counter and says, "Where exactly is this ancient cemetery?"
There are places in Erden where even the light fears to tread. The graveyard is one such place. The mausoleum there, they say, is a wound in the world where darkness seeps.
This is the place. Fancy pats Armaros on the rump. You know this is the place. Come on.
Perhaps this place is a portal to the past and the future. They say if you listen closely, you can hear the whispers of those who never left.
Doesn't sound
Restless.
like past to the future, but the portal of life and death.
They have been restless of late, these voices. An omen. An omen.
Luncheon business it is. And thank you for your service so far.
Well, if you wish to know more, I do happen to know one of the Railokan scholars who, for a small finder's fee might, be willing to have him come and speak to you.
Emmy, would you like that?
To sleep on the ground? It's fine.
No. To have a meeting with one of their scholars.
Oh, that would be lovely. They could probably tell me more about crystals.
All right. We'll take that service as well. Please send a scholar over.
We got
Oh,
a
yes,
tailor, a
so-
scholar, and instruments coming.
Yeah.
Again, for a small for a small fee, a finder's fee, perhaps a connection fee.
Here's
I would
5 gold.
Probably willing to do that.
5 gold on the
Oh,
counter.
the Varlokan are such reclusive folk. It's such a dastardly task to get them from their. Well, from
And I
anywhere,
removed
to
5
be
gold
honest.
from the counter, and I just replaced it with a platinum. Here you go.
Ah,
Why are you so wealthy?
I might be able to bring them out with this or for this. Yeah, maybe this shall do. Yes, I'll have send one up in due time.
Thank you. But please just make sure to send a message ahead. I don't want Miss Emmy here to be indecent.
Well, I'm sure they'll knock.
Nice. Thank you.
One probably wouldn't like people bursting into their private rooms, now would they?
Not the fancy rooms, especially.
Oh no. We couldn't have that.
Well, I'm off. And I harumph towards wherever I think the rooms are.
Alright, we go up to the rooms and we settle in. To get things all separated, waiting for a tailor to stop by and a scholar to stop by.
I'm sorry.
Hey man, these are all good opportunities,
Well, so we're kind of talking.
and we
about
don't
this
have to
sort
leave the hotel of our current prison that we have signed into. Welcome to your new prison. Enjoy. Yeah, now I get a nice fancy overcoat, and
Well, yeah, we got so many threads being pulled now, so at least it's
Yep.
not just the cemetery thing.
and you know who hears things? Tailors.
Um,
Well, if they're going to stop by our rooms, you can guarantee they're going to hear some things.
No, they don't have to do anything. Just send Fancy in. See, that's how we approach any diplomatic situation. We load Fancy up with false information and let him go.
well, things happen.
I'll give you a few
Yeah.
minutes to discuss amongst yourselves here, and we'll probably story-wise, we'll let y'all talk, and then probably story-wise we'll probably end the session after y'all done kind of straighten out whatever it is you want to do or talk about at this point.
I'm sure.
Well, I mean, I think out of character that the tarot card reading was about Fancy, and that the circle is that center of Erden kind of idea is probably where the ancient cemetery is, and then the other things that we saw, they're all kind of like leading us there. So it seems pretty natural for us to go there next. And Fancy's ready to leave today. So he's trying to convince them that we don't need to stay here at all. and that we should go to the cemetery.
Yeah. More in character. I don't know if it's just part of the Vistani charm of trying to. I don't know what I'm about to say. Feels like every Vistani we've ran into has just sort of been waiting for us. I know the vendor things, that's part of the job, is to make you think that you're the center of their thing so you can get their gold, but they don't always pass out and go catatonic in front of you. So that was weird.
Committed.
Also, he didn't take my money. I tried to pay for the reading, but it wasn't about money. Right? It's about me. It's all about me.
Yeah, let's check our pockets now. So I was
Fancy,
kind of watching after his when we were in there, but they would have been sneaky. So
Fancy checks his pockets. He used to have, in the old days, 100 gold. According to the character sheet, he still has 100 gold in once.
we missing anything, Dungeon Master? Oh, definitely.
What seems to be some weird connection to an arcane something. Yep. This is one awesome ploy. Everyone's in on it.
The conspiracy part of me is a little worried about that. Now, I mean, if we're going to go out of character, I say this because sometimes, like, Zeb's totally spot on with his out of character stuff, even if I disagree with him. Sometimes he's totally spot on, but I just, out of character, I hate to think, it's like, we'll go off a boat and, well, there's obviously going to be a quest guy with a little question mark over his head, and that's who we go to. I hate thinking about it that way, even though, I mean, you might be right. I mean, well, there's some decent
we were going to
evidence
go
that-
to the center of Erden anyway. So this just gives us a lead.
Yeah. I just want to go with some skepticism that if all of these clues, I don't feel like they're naturally happening. I definitely want to re-listen to this video. There's a lot of stuff happening, but I'd be worried that we're being played, to be honest. And that's somewhat of a out of character and in character. But we got threads, so I don't know. I mean,
Hold them.
There were definitely some definite clues about space time portally type things that could be going on there. So that's exactly what we're looking for. So that's my piece. So if anybody else wants to, I'll be quiet.
Nope. I think I tried to give us as many opportunities today.
I like the Taylor stuff. I just
Yeah.
I'm thinking about
Well,
the
now we
things
got a
that happen
scholar, so
that we
so
seem
Amy
like
can roleplay.
yeah we seem like kind of tourists, which we are. Business people, maybe throwing a little money around, business trip, business expenses. I think it all kind of fits for a part of our cover story.
Nonchalantly asking about the crypts. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
clearly.
except for that. I was
Yep.
just like,
Yeah.
yes, I sell L's and I love dead people.
Good role playing, Zeb. I enjoyed you walking away and
Thanks.
coming back again.
It was fun.
My bribe failed.
As a side point, this was a while back, but when Corval, when you first asked Corval like your accent, and you were kind of using one of his accents when you asked, I love that little detail there.
Yeah.
River and I were talking about at the break that we really enjoyed Drad's portrayal of the captain. That was awesome.
He had a small part in the past campaign, so it was
Drad
neat.
loves playing pirate captains.
I just loved all the voice and accent changes. It was funny.
And I remember this too. Like Drad was doing the changing of the accents, but I didn't really catch it. I just thought, well, he's like he's not like a professional accent person. He's just making some mistakes. And Wolfen mentioned it, and I was like, Wolfen, don't be mean. And then Drad was like, no, that was intentional. That was it's like, oh.
Go ahead. Sorry. Nope.
No.
Go. Run me over with your voice. Go.
Oh, well, now you put it like that, I feel bad. I was going to go back on
Because I'll keep going.
Yeah, so I guess for next session, we'll kind of pull on what we've got. We'll lean into the touristy business thing and make a trek. And we got the scholar to talk to, and he can learn some things. And maybe I'll sell some brew.
I am a little concerned about going into all this dark stuff, since I can't see in the dark versus all you guys.
Well,
You were like,
luckily
and you're going into the land of eternal night.
We have a map, right? And I'm sure there's some overpriced night vision goggles.
Yeah,
It's a local
I've got
map,
100
by the way.
gold.
It is not a urban map. It's a
Local map.
Duskport map.
Yeah.
Like a pamphlet in a Branson motel room.
Yeah, it's a tourist map. Yeah, it's exactly what I asked for.
It's even got cartoonish caricature pictures of the places to go.
Welcome to China. Welcome to Hollywood. Fucking. It's a Disneyland map.
The tar pits, and it's like the big picture of
Yeah.
T-Rex with the like the noose around its neck and like X over its eyes. Whatever, like.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Anyway, all right. Well, that was excellent.
Yes.
I will stop the recording here, and then we'll do it again in 2 weeks, and we'll pick up with a tailor and a scholar and a gentleman.
So,
maybe.
yeah. So there's a strategic reason why we have 6 rooms. All right. Even if Emmy doesn't want her own room, that's if someone's trying to catch us, that's one more room they gotta look at.
There you go.
If we're all in 2 rooms, it's easy.